Hi everybody, hope you're okay. Beautiful day, but I have a problem. In fact, I've got many problems, but no, the caravan has a problem. Let me reposition the camera and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So this problem came about when we were last on our trip to Cornwall, and I noticed that it was not registering correctly. You can see it's misaligned. If you can see inside there, you can see it's misaligned. But worse than that, the actual plug has come apart. But if you think that's the bad problem, oh no, this gets far worse. If we pull the sheath back, pretty much every single connector has got corrosion on it, which means that water has been getting in here somehow. But it gets even worse than that. But we can see here that some of the cabling has started to come adrift and it's now touching, which could do one of two things. Either blow a fuse, which means that something's not going to work, or worse still, illuminate a light that shouldn't be illuminated, and that is pretty dangerous to anybody that's following me. So there's no option but to replace the plug. So I've been out this morning, I've purchased a new plug, and as you can see it's £4.99, not particularly expensive, but this one seems to be better than the other one because obviously there's rust and corrosion on the inside. It means water's been letting into that plug somehow. And indeed, if I look at the back of the plug, I'll show this to you when it's off. If I look at the back of the plug, it's been letting water in from behind. This one seems to be better, it seems to clamp onto the cable, so hopefully we shouldn't have this problem going forward. So it's just a case of taking off the old and replacing with the new. But before we start doing that, we need to do something very, very particular. We need to document all the colour coding of every cable on every pin, because the first 7 pins may be colour coded correctly and they may be right and there may be a standardisation, but after that it can be any colour depending on this cable that you have. And in fact, if you go online and you look at a cross section of any diagrams, you'll see that there's a whole selection of different colors for different pinouts. So what I need to do is just sit here, take my time and document every single pin. Now the wiring diagram is quite straightforward. If you look at the back of the plug, you can see it starts off at pin 1, which is in the center 4. It's like a diamond in the center. It goes clockwise around to pin 2, down to pin 3, up to pin 4, and then it then spreads out to the outer ring and again goes all the way around the outside in a clockwise motion, all the way around to pin 13. Now when we look at the back of the plug, and if we look at the wiring on this plug in particular, you can see it's all a bit of a blinking mess and we can't really work out what pin's what. But there's a couple of clues that we can use in order to work out what pin goes where. First of all, pin 3 is always going to be white. It's going to probably be a little bit thicker than all the other cables as well. But then directly beneath that is pin 12, and pin 12 is never connected. So with that information, we can determine that to the right of pin 12 is pin 11 and to the left is pin 13, and from that information we can then document quite accurately knowing which pin is color coded to what cable. So I'm going to spend some time, I'm just going to take 20 minutes just to write down all of those colors, and we should have a proper wiring diagram specific to this caravan. So whilst I write this information down, I thought I'd share what I do with the information that I find out about this caravan, and which is not generally available online. I've got a live Word document that is constantly updated where I write down everything specific to this caravan. So details about the tyres, their age, the size, the makes, details about the keys and the serial numbers, what bulbs I need for the rear of the caravan, the fuse panel, details about the devices and the serial numbers, about the tracker and the alarm. Yep, it's a constantly evolving document. And as you can see, I've added details of this 13-pin plug, which is specific to this caravan. It's a handy document and it's in one place and it's stored in the cloud, but I also keep a printed copy just in case I've got no online access. Anyway, let's get back to the job in hand. Anyway, it's all documented. I'm happy with what I've got here, so now is the time to take it all apart. One thing to note is there shouldn't be, and there certainly isn't here, there shouldn't be any power on this plug at the moment. If you are a little bit suspect, then obviously test it with a multimeter, make sure there's no power. But there is no power on any of these pins right now, so if any of them touch right now, it's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to start off with pin 13 and I'm going to undo it backwards just as a sanity check, and I'm just going to confirm this against the colouring that I've already documented here today. So let's get on and take it off. I think you can really see now the corrosion on this plug. It's horrendous. Look how bad that is. In terms of the cable, I'm just going to straighten a few things out here. but it all seems to be okay. Thankfully, all the ends of the cables have got furrows on them, so that means then I can reuse this cable as it is. Just need to straighten up all the cables, get them in some sort of order in terms of where they go, and that's going to be good. But of course, the most important thing is to remove the remains of the old plug and put on the fixings for the new plug. So let's do that right now. Right, so we've got the end cap on, we've got the grommet, collet, whatever you want to call it, and also we've got the barrel for the plug as well. So that's the three things we want to put on there. Now, just a quick point, I don't need to put this on, even though this was included in the plug itself. This is actually a reducer. This is designed for if you've got like a 7-core cable. I don't know if you can see that. The 13-core cable just will not pass through the middle of it there. So that's just a reducer, so I don't need that. So it's just literally the barrel, the grommet, and the end cap, and that's all we need. So with that being said, let's get on and let's wire it up. Then it's red brown. Okay, so there we go, all wired up, quite happy with that. Made sure that all the plugs are connected correctly, and I've gone through everything and made sure it's all correct. Now it's just a case of putting it together. So if we look inside, we've got the plug here, and I hope you can see that okay. We've got the notch here, and we've got the flat piece here. So the notch needs to go in with the bottom of the pin here. So let's put that in like so. So there we go, we're all aligned there nice and neatly. Notch is there, flat piece at 12 o'clock. So with that in place, we'll now just bring forward the barrel at the back and screw that on to hold the pins and everything in place. That goes on nice and tight. And then it's just a case of pulling the grommet forward. I'm not sure what you call it. Is it a cleat? Strain relief? I don't know. And then we just screw up the back of the plug like so. And again, this needs to be nice and tight. So there we go, it's all on. Not entirely impressed with this here. I might give this another go to see if I can get that to sit nicer. But anyway, it's on. So what I'm going to do now is move the car around, plug the caravan in, and make sure that everything is working as it should. Now, in terms of testing the lights, I'm on my own today, so I've got a bit of an issue here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this camera, and I'm going to use the microphone which is plugged into it. I'm going to talk my way through what I'm doing in the car, and then the camera will pick up the audio of me saying what I'm doing and also show me at the same time, so I'll know whether everything is working. That means I can test things like the reverse as well. So let's give that a go, let's plug it in and see what happens. All right, so I know the permanent 12 is working fine because we've got a green light here on our ATC, so that's a good start. Hope the camera and the microphone still have got range. And now I'm going to talk through what I'm going to do. So, right indicator, brake pedal, reverse, side lights, fog lights. So just for completeness, indicator, brake, reverse, side lights, fog lights, indicator. So that should be everything working now. Right, so the only other thing I need to prove now is whether the switch 12 volt is working fine. And I can do that by using my rear view camera. So if I plug it in now, it'll come up with a blue screen, like so. And then we can see the camera is working, which means that the switched 12 volt is working fine. Right, and there we go, another job successfully done. Was it difficult? No, not really. Was it complicated? No. The most difficult thing actually was getting the gland to fit correctly at the back of that plug, which I still don't think I've got properly connected. So I might have to readdress that in the coming months. It's something worth investigating though, every now and again. Maybe just pop the back of that plug off and make sure you haven't got any corrosion, because that could cause no end of issues. It may even account for why the fridge kept going on and went off during our journey home when we were coming back from Cornwall. Anyway, maybe not, maybe coincidental. I've put a link to a replacement plug down in the description down below. They're not very expensive, worthwhile having one if you do ever break one. But because of the corrosion in that plug, I've decided I'm no longer going to screw the plug in the very convenient hole on the A-frame. Instead, I'm going to put a parking plug, that's the green cap, on the end, and I'm going to leave it underneath the hitch cover so that it shouldn't have any issues with water ingress, hopefully. Anyway, that's it from me today. Please do hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon. If you can do all that, I'll see you in the next upload. Oh, and I've got plenty more things to fix as well. I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.